right, welcome back to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. I was going to give Corey a nice welcome back, but since he botched the original opening, we're not going to do that.
Man, y'all didn't even have the pleasure of listening to that. Just knocking off some rust here, Max.
I see that. You got to shake it off before we start recording, though.
Yeah, that would be ideal. Well, technically we weren't recording because I didn't hit record.
There we go.
So now that we are recording, thank you for that lovely welcome back, Max. It's good to be back.
It was nicer the first time.
It was nicer. It sounded, you were rolling into it. You were feeling good about it. You had the Darth Saint smug grin on your face, which the TVs captured this past game. I told our buddy Dan in the UK, I said grin on the tweet. I said if I was really being an ass, I would have said he had a smug gin on his face. But so there I did. I am being an ass now, as I should be, being back in the saddle. So it feels good. It was a good time away, honeymooning, getting married, all that.
Well, you're still married, so I guess the honeymoon went well.
Still married, yes. Have to go home tonight after we finish this, so hopefully that's the case when I get back. No, it was great. Everything was awesome. So y'all really held it down, guys, when I was away. I'm impressed. 3 episodes. Preview?
No, actually 4 episodes.
Was it 4?
Yeah, it was 4.
Damn. 4 episodes. I can't even count. State of the Saints. Wow.
I know.
Just banged it out.
Did you like it?
Here's the thing. Before I even listened to it, I saw it come out, and I saw the title of it. I was like, God damn it. State of the Saints. And I'm not even there. That seems like a big episode. So I started listening to it. I'm like, they're going to say so much shit that's wrong, and I'm going to disagree with them. And when I get back, I'm going to come in hot, and it's going to be great. What the hell were y'all doing putting out an episode that I agreed with y'all on? It was like, there's some things I could nitpick on. But overall, look, y'all broke it down well. The Derek Carr contract thing, I do think that has to be put in perspective for a lot of people when you really break it down on a per year. Nick's assumption, that was the basis of the analysis, was the per year average. But look, quarterback's a going rate thing nowadays. It's a market price thing nowadays. And when you really break it down, I think y'all put some good perspective on the whole very easy ire and talking point of like, the $150 million quarterback. It's like, well, yeah, he is. But when you break it down by year,
Potentially he is.
It is what it is.
He's not owed 150.
The Olave thing.
The Olave game show, which was a favorite.
Game show format, great. Very good. There's a couple little things I could push back on y'all on.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you this.
But here's the thing.
Did you get to 15?
I got to wherever y'all got to McLaurin. I was like, no, I'll take Olave over McLaurin.
And look, to be fair, I debated that one as well. I think I took McLaurin
and
first.
With Mike Evans, it was more of like a, if it's from today going forward, I might be inclined to go with Olave, considering Mike Evans, next season, sure, we'll be fine. After that, the youth factor for Olave might push Olave for me over Evans. But if you look at the totality of their careers, obviously Olave is young. Mike Evans is, like you said, Hall of Famer.
Well, no. Let me say this. We weren't approaching it from a career perspective. We were approaching it from a now and then
because
immediate
of how
future.
A lot of Saints fans.
Yeah, so like I might differ on like Mike Evans or McLaurin like right now.
Hold on. Before you get into that, let's just say, how many Pro Bowl spots are there?
On each side for receiver, 5, right?
I believe, is it 4 or 5?
Well, the Pro Bowl's quickly becoming a farce.
It's been a farce, but all pro, there's what, 2 or 3?
Well, 2
all
in the
pro's
1
different.
team, 2 in the 2 team, 2 in the 3 team.
Right. So the biggest point of the exercise was to prove that he's not an all-pro receiver by any means.
Well, while I agree the Pro Bowl is a farce, he has not made the farce even. So
that's a decent point.
Let's put in context where he's at today.
To make a long story short, which is something I say a lot but don't often do, Nick's line of the episode, at least regarding that statement, was we need to not pay non-elite players elite money. Yep. And I think that's what it all boils down to.
And that was the point I was making months ago.
Yeah. Whether it's Olave or anybody else.
Right.
It's don't pay elite money to a non-elite player.
Exactly.
I think there's reasons that Olave was unable to have an elite season, okay? Partially himself included. But I think there is a Derek Carr factor where if I was with y'all during that episode, I would have discussed that. it's nothing you can really quantify, though, because it's like, was he injured during a lot of those games where he was missing Olave? Was Olave running the wrong routes the entire game? There's a lot of things we just can't know, but I think...
Right, so we have to go off of production.
Yeah, and production wasn't elite.
And opportunity. Like, he gets opportunities, right? I mean...
well, yeah.
138 targets? That's prime number one receiver target share. That's big numbers.
He had opportunity, but like we mentioned, and we had... I feel like we had like a little mini episode before we even hit record on this thing, but we were talking about, the totality of Derek Carr's year, and yes... The stats as a whole look good, decent, the 15th, 16th that we thought he would be. But when he was so up and down, not consistent, that when he was bad, he was god-awful. And when he was good, he was good. So it begs the question of, like, during that time that Derek Carr was having his little adjustment period, up and down period, Olave was still there the whole time. That physical talent that he brings to the table was still there with a subpar performing quarterback for a sizable stretch. Call it a quarter here, a quarter there, a game here, a game there.
Yeah, but to be fair, Olave was underperforming severely for about a 4-week stretch.
So, but I think he wasn't.
But the counter to that is he had 200-yard games in the first 3 weeks. Like,
right.
Carr was finding him. Something was disconnected. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So, like, there's it's not linear, I guess is all I'm saying. But the exercise y'all did was a good exercise. I'll bring it back to that. The exercise was a good exercise. As of now, after this season, you can't justify saying, like, if we had to re-up on Olave this offseason, you could not justify it.
Right. I think
like Max said, this is about really kind of
I'm gonna put it like
2025. This. Now in 2025, you will have had next year under his belt. Different story,
right? But what I would say is, do I want to get rid of Olave? No. Do I want to pay Olave what he's going to be asking? No.
Right.
So how do you manage as of today? No, that could all change next year, of course. And we're lucky enough we've got a whole nother year before we have to even think about doing anything about this. If he's going to command that $22 million, Christian Kirk plus money,
you can't do it.
You can't
justify it right now.
So I think that's kind of what we're trying to get at is everyone, it turned into this weird, we all read all the stuff that's out there, and it turned into this like Olave versus Carr thing.
Yeah.
We weren't even talking about that. We weren't trying to like knock on Olave in any way whatsoever. It's like, is he the guy that we're going to pay $100 million to a receiver?
And so, again, like this is why I was even hesitant to bring it up, because we have talked about Chris Olave specifically a lot on this podcast.
Well, look, and also to be clear, we want him to be that player. Like everyone at this table, there's 3 of us here. We all want this guy. I would love for him to put up 150 catches a year, and put up like 1,800 yards.
If he could be the guy that demands the ball because of his production, it's a seriously like unlocking effect on the offense. So yes, we do want that.
I tell you, like that unbelievable catch this weekend. It was an incredible catch. Extremely talented to be able to make that catch. Yes. But I also text Max. I think AT just catches that ball straight out because when Carr's throwing him the back shoulder, he just goes high points and takes that ball down. So you're like, okay, that was an unbelievable. Not many players could make that play Olave played the way he did it.
Yeah,
but could it be done a different way, much easier? I don't know. Like the back shoulder in the end zone to AT was a harder catch than that one.
And this thing, we don't know, but it's a fair question. But anyway, like I said, I've been out for a while. So did y'all want this to be a kind of a recap episode?
Let's do this. No one really gives a shit.
Let's recap it real quick.
Let's just go over the predictions, and that's what we're going to do as far as a recap, because honestly, no one cares about anything that happened in the game. We kicked the shit out of them. Other than the last play, I don't think anyone wants to hear anything about the way the running game looked in the first quarter and all this other stuff.
The last play, has that been talked about in the past 48
Maybe
hours?
a little bit.
Yeah.
But
we'll talk about it a little bit. But best game of the year.
Yeah.
By a mile. You absolutely throttled your most hated rival. I mean, we named our pod after it. We hate them that much.
Well, we named our pod after them blowing a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl.
Jabbing at this team, and we beat them by 31. So regardless of where we ended, not going to the playoffs sucks. We all know that, but like this was the best game of the season. It's the team we want to beat the most, and it was our most dominant win, even more than the Patriots, in my opinion. This was an absolute ass whooping against a team that was potentially fighting to win the division still. So this was not a team that had given up. I don't think they're a particularly good team, but they had not given up. They were there to win and see if Tampa lost just like we were. So absolutely dominant performance. Carr's best game of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Max and I both had Carr as the game MVP. I think that's pretty clear. Corey had Olave, who had a good game, 56 yards and a touchdown, the miraculous catch for the touchdown.
He had almost like half
the yardage.
He had exactly half the yardage.
Yeah. But he had the touchdown.
Yeah. So he had the touchdown. Yeah.
Defensively, I don't know who you would
I was looking
call.
at that. It was defensively tough.
It's probably DeMario or Alante.
Well,
in
Abram
the
had
second
another
half.
good game too.
Well, Alante got benched.
Oh, he got killed. He got killed in the first half.
He was attached to every big play in the game, good and bad.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been him this year.
He had one tackle.
Yeah.
Look, let's be clear. He got benched, and the only reason he came back in was because Yadam suffered a concussion.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and
you can't give it to him.
Well, that's
No.
what I was saying is his comeback after the way that game started was
Do you give it to Honey Badger for actually getting downed at the one so the last play could happen?
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
I mean,
Without
if
that,
Honey
what would-
Badger runs into the end zone, we go out of this game
Everybody's
thinking
in
like
the greatest
everything's
mood.
fine.
Yeah.
And good. I mean, it's like
Abram-
the butterfly effect of football was like on full display.
it was supposed
in
to,
this
and
game.
it's the perfect season
Yeah.
for that to happen. Let's be honest.
After seeing the Honey Badger run that interception back and get tackled at the one, I want to see the Honey Badger and Jamaal Williams have a race. Because I'm pretty sure Corey might be able to beat both of them. They are running in concrete Nikes.
I don't know, Max. They would probably beat me. Maybe.
Jamal, I don't know if he's beating
Jamal
anybody.
is the old 2.9 a carry.
He's
this year.
clunking. I think was it that much?
That's what it was going into the game.
You remember the during COVID the Pokemon game where you would like I didn't play it where you could like find them out in the open. I saw people playing it like you'd probably get
We'll
beat.
take your word for it.
You'd probably get beat to the Pokemons by
Probably so.
the gamers.
Well, defense.
Shout out to Chicago
Who do we want to
Chasers,
call for the defense? Do we want to say
Defense, I think is DeMario because he set the tone again in the run game. Bijan Robinson got no big runs the whole game, and
your
he
70-yard reception on
Yeah.
Alante?
on Alante,
Yeah.
and that was. I'll be honest with you, that's a pick six all day if he plays the
should have been.
position
It
right.
should have been.
It was a.
And that's an example of them avoiding DeMario by
Yeah.
throwing it out there.
But I would say the closest was Corey. Adebo had 7 tackles and 1 pass breakup. Didn't make any big splash plays.
I can't give it to a guy who got benched.
No, Adebo.
No, Adebo.
Oh, I'm sorry, Adebo. Sorry.
Adebo.
Sorry.
If Adebo gets benched, we got real problems.
Yeah.
But he did better than us. You picked Cam. He did nothing. I picked Zach Bond. He had a couple tackles. He didn't get a sack.
When I was listening to the preview pod, I was like, Max he's going for it. He not
Well,
knocking
hey.
you, not knocking you for having your boy, not knocking you for that. I'm just like I get wanting.
Well, he's a Falcon
almost
killer,
Willing.
He is a Falcon killer, and that's why I went there.
There was basis in it. But it was when I heard you make
Well-
the pick, I'm like, this is it. This Max is.
I feel
he's trying
better.
to speak it into existence.
I feel better finding out all the injuries he has played through. This
Yeah,
year. Because he detailed them in the post game interview, and I feel better about his performance. And
but
I think I
Max,
have a
what
little
happens
more
when you get
optimism.
old?
Oh, you get injured all the time.
Max doesn't know anything about that.
Everything hurts more. So, I love the guy. It was not a good year. He admitted it. He
Oh, he
got
knows
into
it.
it big
He
time.
knows it. Let's see what happens this year.
Yeah, I told you I'll never kick him out. I'll never ask
He
for
can
him
stay
to
as
leave.
long as he wants to.
I would love for him to go to the front office and say, you know what, how about a pay cut? I would never ask anyone to do that. I would love it if he did it, but that's completely his decision. I would never ask
I can't
him to
imagine
do that.
a player would go to the front office and say, "Hey, by the way, I kind of
Well,
suck."
Kirk Cousins just said he's taking less money. Did you see that? To stay?
I did not.
That shocked me. He has never
Well,
done
that's
that.
because he's worried about getting replaced. I think that's a different scenario.
It's a smart move for him, man. That's a perfect offense for him.
It is. Well, I mean, and that coach loves to throw it.
Well, hold on. So the scores, we all picked the Saints to win. Who got the closest on the score?
Did none
No,
of us picked
I
the
guess
blowout, right?
me, because I had a scoring the most points. You had a 3-point win. I had a 3-point win. I had a scoring 23.
I had a
Corey had a
1-point
1-point win. But so we all thought it was a close, tight game, and we
Yeah.
win. So I think we're all on the same page there. That's nobody really. On the year I finished 10-7. Y'all both finished 8-9 on the predictions.
Ended up tied with Max only because of his whole loss commitment.
Yeah.
Only to redeem your... Damn, if you would have stuck to your guns, I'd have got you by 1. But,
Yeah,
I knew
but
you weren't going to pick us to lose to the Falcons.
No,
I
wasn't.
get it.
Yeah. Well, no, I did the first time. And I think that's when I think you picked a win.
And we both picked a loss, I think.
Yeah.
No, was that the game? I can't remember. We should have kept track of game by game. I just kept the record. I kept track of the record only.
But we could probably go through...
we'll figure it out.
Once we get this thing on video, y'all can see the official documents.
We'll actually put it up on a board and have it behind us.
We could post it.
We'll
do that next year.
Yeah, we'll do that next year. Yeah. But I guess we should go ahead and talk about the infamous play.
The play.
The play. The play of the... Honestly, the play of the year, because this was a very not entertaining year, but I will say this last play drummed up more excitement in the fan base than any other play this year.
Excitement or negativity?
Everything. It's like we...
Everyone's mad about something.
Yeah, I want Corey's thoughts. Hold on, Corey. We're going to give you the floor here because I want to hear your take on this. Because this one and I have been going back and forth, tooth and nail for the better part of 48 hours. And I'm glad that we're recording this on Tuesday evening right now.
Right.
And I'm glad we didn't do this on Monday.
All the takes are out there, kind of.
All the takes are out there, and plus some other stuff has come out. I'm very glad because it gave us all time to kind of reflect on it and to kind of say, you know what, let me let it marinate for a little bit longer, and then we can give our takes on it. But I know his. Well, I want yours, and then we'll let Nick, so anyone who's listening can kind of get a feel for what he thinks.
Before I give my right or wrong, whether you're Jameis Winston roasting at Daniels or if you're Shannon Sharp on First Take, before I get into that side of it, let's just take a moment to talk about the fact that this happened in the first place, because it's the we talked about the idea. What was it, 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, that you said it. We talked to Jono about it. That would be the Jono Barnes shout out. This shit more than a game t-shirts, but this idea that the last game of the year is going to be this shit show of Saints Falcons. No one wants to win the NFC South. It's going to come down to the last game to decide the division. Okay, so the division decider didn't happen. And we kind of knew going into the game it was unlikely that this was really going to be a play-in type game. We knew it could be, but I don't think any of us had, besides the Saints fan hopes, we were like, shit, we need a lot to go right. So we thought it was just going to be yet another exercise in mediocrity in a season filled with mediocrity. And for the Saints ran 66 plays in that game. And for 65 plays, that's exactly what it was, except we were doing well. We were hanging 41 on the Falcons. In that 66th play of the game, we're lining up in victory formation only because, like you said, the Honey Badger ran like his age. Maybe he
ran like Nick's age. He didn't run like his age.
Isn't Nick your age?
He's older than me by a month. So he ran like Nick's age.
It's a good stat.
There we go.
It's a good stat.
Not like me, though. I'm fast as shit.
He can run like the wind blows. Only because the Honey Badger didn't make it to the goal line. All these things had to happen for this one play. You know what I mean? It could have just not happened. And if this one play doesn't happen, then we have
all
such
sunshine and rainbows.
A lack of perspective on what's we have a lack of a tangible example of what's really going on with this team. And so I just want to acknowledge the fact that it happened. So many things had to happen for the play to happen.
So it happened. We know it happened.
So I set it up. I love it. I fucking love it. I mean, why not give the man his touchdown? I do agree with people who did say they did have the only issue I would take with it would be the idea of running it out of a victory formation.
Yeah. That's weak.
I think
it's very weak.
And so when I take that analysis of don't run it out of the victory formation, you should have just lined up in a fucking I formation or whatever formation you need to tell them, hey, we're running it. We're getting our guy a touchdown. We're not going to stop us.
Right.
And he's going to get the touchdown. Or if they stop you on first down, run it again. and then run it again until it's fourth down. And if they've stopped you on all 4 downs, it's like, well, we tried. Okay, not that there was enough time left or whatever. I haven't done that calculation, but yeah, the victory formation is a little bit weak. But then logistically, when you're thinking about it, did they even have? I don't know. I mean, did they have the ability to line up in another formation?
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
They were in the huddle. Jameis at that point can say, "Hey, no, we're not going to line up in victory formation. Let's go ahead and line up in goal line."
But what I haven't really dove deep into, just because I haven't really felt like taking the time to do it, is like, what was the personnel on the field? Like, what formation? Like, if they send in victory personnel,
Taysom's our deep back.
Is Jamaal? Do they run a trap?
Foster Moreau was on the field. Jimmy Graham was on the field.
It's all the tight ends.
It's all the tight ends.
Because here's the thing. It's still the NFL. You still have to call a play that can be executed with the guys on the field.
True. And you could.
And if you're really trying to,
you
could have
goal line
for sure. You had all the tight ends in,
All the
the
tight
extra
ends.
offensive
I'm
linemen.
just thinking of like this step by step. If
Two backs.
Pete's not even calling in a play.
No.
Because it's victory. So it's kind of like, does Jameis have it in him to know, and he should, but like to know, okay, with this exact personnel, this is the exact play we can run. There's a few steps that have to happen in a very short amount of time.
I think you're overcomplicating it. The reality is the players that were on the field at that point for victory were the same players that would be on the field for a goal line.
Yeah, I guess you could like backyard football
For the most part.
It'd be
For the
like,
most part.
Backyard football would be like, you line up here, we're giving it to Jamaal. Y'all know what to do.
Corey, basically all you have to do is bring Taysom closer to the other back instead of having him as a deep.
Exactly.
That's all you got to do.
And look, I would take Taysom as a lead blocker over a lot of people on the team. So
He's the one guy out of the whole group on the field that did not seem on board. Did you see him after the play? He just like looked over and he was like,
really?
Yeah, if you go back and look at
then he's like,
everyone celebrated but Taysom.
It was the funniest thing because being at the game and it happened in the end zone closest to us, we're on the 20-yard line. And I told you, I saw them go in and I was so pissed off that the Honey Badger did not score.
I honestly kind of like,
damn it. So I'm like, all right, man, I wish they would run another play right here. And I saw him line up in victory. And I looked away and started to get out of my seat.
I wasn't even
And then
looking.
the next thing I know, everyone's cheering. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, I was not looking at the field when it happened.
Yeah, and then seeing the replay, you could see how disjointed it looked.
Right.
Yeah.
You could tell it wasn't something that
because it all happened on the field and he was trying to get everybody to get on board. Right. So it was a mess. But so what's your actual take on it then?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, you danced around it a lot. So.
No, I had to say, I love
everyone
the fact
knows the setup. Everyone saw it.
I love the fact that it happened. First off, it's like the most Saints thing ever. But I'm fine with it. I'm more than fine with it. And what makes me fine with it is that the players wanted it. Okay, like I'm not fine with the fact that we have a coach who our players feel like they can just say, "Well, fuck you two." I'm not fine with that aspect of it, and nobody is.
Some people are.
I don't know that.
I'm not fine with us retaining a coach the players can say fuck you to. That's what I'm not.
Yeah.
So that's the point I'm making there. The idea of saying, look, Jamaal has been just doing like he's still fucking here playing, and
he's been terrible.
18.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you this: where was this desire to get? Hold on. Where was this desire to get him a score on like the previous drive when they were in the goal line?
That's an
they
issue.
gave it to him.
I know, and they were like, well, whatever.
Well, no, that's an issue too. That's a separate issue. I mean, I think like, when
he tried to get him a touchdown, is what I'm saying. They gave him the ball.
They knew
he went -1 yard,
like he's done all year. Yeah,
it's the idea that they knew it was the last play of the game.
It's just sad that they had to use deception to get Pikachu a touchdown because they couldn't get him one line.
Well, that's what the players aren't saying.
They're
not saying.
Hold on.
We line up in victory.
You're dancing around it.
Are you going next or am I?
What am I dancing around?
Well, no. Ask him what you want to ask him.
I'm fine with it.
No, you're fine with every aspect of it. Victory formation, the whole thing.
Like I said, the only thing I would have changed would be just line up in a regular formation. I question the logistics of doing that, but I get it. If you're backyard footballing it, you can just line up at anything besides victory.
I have zero issue with Jameis doing it. I also don't believe it is like an absolute indictment of the coach. I think you have to look at the context. I don't want the coach back. I don't think he's earned the right to be back.
Yeah, none of us
But
do.
not because of this play, because of what the Saints did. I think so. So what I'm saying
fire
is,
coaches of a play.
I think Jameis they're good friends. I don't know if everyone knows that. Him and Jamaal are like super tight, supposedly, on the team. They're always on the sideline together. If you pay attention to that, they're buddies.
What's your source?
Just watching. My own.
Name your source.
And I have zero issue in a 24-point blowout on the last play where it is clearly there's no scenario you could cost yourself the game whatsoever. You're doing it for the teammates. There was no maliciousness there. We all love Jameis as long as he's not actually playing.
Yes.
So he's very fun. I do believe it's genuine. Like, I guess the part of the whole narrative is like, yes, he went after the Falcons. It didn't even cross his mind. He was just getting Jamaal a touchdown.
It wasn't a Falcons thing.
He was trying to hook Jamaal up. They wanted Jamaal to get one off the 0 touchdown mark for the year. I totally get it. It's a teammate thing. It's a camaraderie thing. The bucking the Dennis Allen call and all that, I don't care about that much. It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
But I'm also not going to blow it out of proportion the other way and say, oh, we've definitely lost the team. Like I saw. I just don't feel that. This is a guy who's probably his last play as a Saint. We could all most likely agree unless he ends up back here at the minimum. But I don't think it's like a complete indictment of the coaching staff. That's where I stand. I am all for running up the score in the Falcons. Anytime we want to do it. I wanted Honey Badger to get in. No doubt about it. Jam it down the throat. Just like O.C. Umenyiora did to us. Do it. Bury it. Go for 2. I don't give a shit. Score as many as you can. The victory stuff is Bush League as fuck. And if we're going to ignore that that's a complete douche move, then I think you're just not being honest with yourself. Corey, you played football. You'd be cool with that? I mean, if that happened to us as Saints fans, we'd be going absolutely ballistic. So let's just acknowledge that it was a douche way to do it. I have no problem trying to score 100 on the Falcons every time we play them, down to the last minute. The one thing I would like to see us avoid is what we did with Sean having Michael Thomas blocking, and we lose his whole career because of trying to run up the score on the Falcons. That I can do without.
It's his job to block.
But
at that point,
it was
not when the game's over.
It was the Buccaneers, and we were up by 2 scores.
I'm sorry, the Bucs. Yes,
it was 2 scores, and it was week 1.
And we could have kneeled the ball.
Yeah,
So
in that scenario, yeah.
So that I'm not good with. When you've got all the tight ends, the offensive line on the field, and you're going to run it right at them, I'm all for it. Mm-hmm. Let's do it. Let's score 1 million. I do think the victory formation is a complete douche move.
Agree.
And we can still like it, but we got to acknowledge that that's what it is. I mean, there's no debating that.